So, the thing is, I have a few ideas about this, because the results are going to differ depending on what ethical system you rank them in. I think we need to be able to evaluate that, right? I think we need to make a tier for one, like, good, utilitarian, good, okay, but I don't want utilitarianism to be on the top because people are going to get confused. Virtue ethics is the best ethical system. I'm kidding, this is a joke. Then we need good deontologist. We're only putting good utilitarian in the third slot because it's not edgy like a deontology. This is all like, I would say S tier, but S tier in like a different way. To get a good understanding of virtue ethics, deontology, and utilitarianism, I like to use the trolley problem as an example because it's a pretty clear example. But deontology is about motives, basically. Good motives makes good actions, and utilitarianism is good actions are made by good outcomes, basically. So in the trolley problem, basically, if you're pulling the lever, you're probably utilitarian. If you're not pulling the lever, you're probably a deontologist. And in the trolley problem, if you're a virtue ethics user, the value of the action is based off of whether or not you are a good person. Which I know is circular, it kind of is, but also, it's like about character. Good actions follow from good character. I know it sounds weird, it kind of is, but also it's really cool if you really go into it. Maybe we could do, this will be like a catch-all, okay? Undefinable good. This should be like, has a moral compass, but it's not their focus in life. We could do morally gray, then after morally gray we'll have like harder to defend. And then we'll have evil. Okay, so which twin are we going to have be the abyssal twin? Because I think whichever twin we choose to be the abyssal twin should be an undetermined. Lumine should be abyss twin. Honestly, I feel like Lumine is a really good abyss twin. She seems like very like wise, you know? So I don't think we can put her in evil just because she's working with the abyss. I feel like we have to put her in undetermined, you know? What are we thinking about the traveler? I personally feel like they go and has moral compass but not the center of their life. Or either that or utilitarian. Good utilitarian. One of these two. I mean, they are very helpful, which makes me feel like maybe outcome is part of it, but like I feel like they're not... Like, they're doing this because they want to find their sibling, right? Well, let me think. Where do I want to put Jean? I'm thinking she might... I don't know. She doesn't feel as strict as a deontologist, though. Because she does not take much care of herself. I mean, she is looking for the best outcome, but she's doing it all because it's, like, the right thing to do, you know? I mean, she's also doing it because she might be an undefinable. I'm not sure, but I am sort of thinking she's... leans deontologist. Back the tier we had before. What was the tier? Did I take it out? Oh, virtue ethics? We want virtue ethics back in there? Actually, I feel like she would fit that. We could put virtue ethics back in. Because she's very much like, good is like a practice that you build up, you know? It's like part of your character. Good is part of your character and who you are. Let's get to Lisa. Okay, where do you guys think you can put Lisa? Because I feel like I'm a little biased here. I don't know, Lisa does seem very, like, self-focused, though, but that's not necessarily a morally gray thing, you know? I don't think she makes one of these top categories of, like, super ethical. Because, like, she ultimately works for the Knights of Favonius, basically. Yes, it's partially, I think, for herself, because of the resources that she gets, but also I don't think it's, like, purely self-centered. I think she actually, like... She does, like, legitimately care about things. Anyways, Amber. I'm thinking about, like, when we first meet Amber, and she's, like, super hospitable despite not knowing the Traveler, like, at all. She's, like, the first person that the Traveler meets. But I don't think we know her motives. I think you're right. We don't know about her motives. So are we gonna put her in undefinable good? She's super wholesome and just happy to help? Yeah. She still tries to uphold the rules around gliding, but she does break them also. So she's, like, probably not, like, a deontologist, because she sort of disobeys those rules. Put her in undefinable good. She does seem like she's focused on ethics. She wants to be a good person. That seems like a major drive in how she acts. Anyways, we have Noelle now. First glance, Noelle gives me not utilitarian, she gives me deontologist vibes. First glance. The reason I put her here is because she tends to, like, operate, it seems like, by the status quo, right? It seems like she, like, abides by protocols. Probably shows if she's, like, willing to dedicate that much of her life to becoming, like, a Knight of Favonius. It seems that, like, ethics is probably something, and, like, doing the right thing is probably something she's very dedicated to. And, like, the fact that she wants to do it, as opposed to, like, D-Luke, who thinks he can bring about good, like, through his own sort of means. She seems like she's, like, has, like, a set of rules that she follows. and sticks to. So I think I'm gonna put her in good deontologist. Next we have Barbara. She's a nun, basically. Yeah, basically. I guess, why is she a nun? I forget. Do we know why she's a nun? That will probably determine a lot of things, because a lot of this is, like, motivation-based. She's a deaconess. Oh, okay. I'm tempted to put her here, just because I don't know if her motives are, like, strong enough to place her in any of these other ones, you know? Next we have Sucrose. I'm hovering between these two for Sucrose. Isn't Sucrose, like, a little too you think gray? She had a hilly troll in her basement. That's what I'm thinking. And also, didn't she try to, like, do tests on Diona or something? I don't think I've heard everything there is to hear about Sucrose, but it seems like she would definitely put aside ethics to, like, pursue alchemy. You know? I think it's a good thing that she's not, like, super morally upright, obviously. I don't think I've heard every story about Sucrose that there is, but, like, based off of a few, like, tads of Sucrose lore that I've heard, she definitely seems, like, a little suspicious. I don't think she's, like, against, her moral compass, but I think she would put some maybe better things aside for the sake of, pursuing her education. Which brings us to Fischl. I mean, to be fair, Fischl is, like, very young. Like, she might not have a fully developed moral compass, you know? I think vibes are telling me that Fischl would go and has a moral compass, but not the focus of her life. Because I don't think, like, the small things that she does to bother people are necessarily enough to put her in morally gray. Like, I don't think bothering Mona all the time is, like, enough to say, oh yeah, you're, like, maybe a bad person. Sometimes, you know? We also have the factor that her super high-class snobby attitude is a front as well. Definitely, yeah. I think the green tier is the place for her. I feel like that's a safe one. Mona, yeah, Mona. I would put Mona in utilitarian for one reason. Totally open to change. But I remember in the summer event that she was in, she was telling the story about how, I forget what the dude's fate was, but she told him his fate, and he had, like, a super adverse reaction to it. And since then, she's been, like, super adverse to using her skills to, like, inform people about that kind of stuff. Where are we gonna put Kaya? Would Kaya be the best Umu Musume trainer to ever live? See, this is why he's falling into moral gray and hard to defend. You guys are associating him with horses. That's the thing. I gotta stop. He's utilitarian. Why do we think he's utilitarian? I don't remember that much about Kaya, that's the problem. He will lie and leave out facts to get you to do something if he thinks it'll help him achieve results he wants. Okay, that's very utilitarian. Wait, the results he wants, or the results that he thinks are good for the most amount of people? I'm guessing the most amount of people, because at the end of the day, he does work with the Knights of Favonius, and he is one of them, so I would be chill with putting him in utilitarian. Is a good guy who is okay with being an evil good guy. So you're saying he's okay with doing maybe bad things to get the best outcome. Now we have Dilu. He gives me deontologist vibes, but I can't defend this. I actually think he's probably utilitarian, based off of what he does. Like, he sort of bends protocol to do what he thinks will get the best outcome, so I've gotta make a Batman tier low-key for Batman tier is basically utilitarian. That means we go on to Razor. Undefinable good. Razor is pretty gray. He's pure. I was considering one of these two. I was thinking virtue ethics only because he cares about Lupical. Exactly. And Lupical seems like a continuous behavior of, like, devotion to the pack, you know? And so I feel like it's like a built-up practice of, like, a being good defined by whether one practices being good to their Lupical, per se, I guess. But I'm also okay with has a moral compass, but it's not the focus of their life. We'll put him here for now, and if you guys don't feel right about this, we can change it. I think the only reason that so many characters are falling up here where, like, most people would not fall is because it's a gacha game and they want you to, like, be in love with the characters, you know? On to Bennett. Bennett. I'm thinking utilitarian for Bennett. Like, he really just wants to help people and, like, get the greatest good out of life, right? He's, like, really in it with the Adventurers Guild, right? He does it because of his dad's, no? That could be true, but, like, I don't think the motivations don't matter for utilitarianism. If you want the greater good for the most people, no matter the motivations, like, you're still utilitarian. Oh, yeah! I remember. Okay, yeah, Bennett was just in an event. He wished for Nalon to recover from the war and that nothing bad ever happens again. True. Okay, I forgot about that. But, like, that solidifies that more. Ningguang is an edgy utilitarian, I think. She's an edgy utilitarian. Utilitarian all the way, I know. She's like, so utilitarian, she's actually cool. Because usually utilitarianism is like kind of boring, but like when she does it, it's fucking cool. Ningguang is too wealthy to be allowed to be good. But like also, the whole Jade Chamber thing, she will sacrifice a lot. We've seen it. We've seen it happen. Beidou, I think has a moral compass, but it's not the focus of her. Actually, if I remember her hangout quest correctly, she might be one of these two. Because Beidou does really want her crew to belong, and she did like taking Kazuha at like almost a breath's notice, you know. But like her thing is sort of about making people belong, right? Moral compass but not the focus, yeah. Green tier, okay. And like I said, deontology, utilitarianism, and all that can fit into here, but if it's not like the god tier of these types of ethics, they're not gonna go in those categories. I think this is fair. I think you guys are right. Kuching. Oh, right off the bat, she gives me deontologist vibes, but I have to think about this more. Don't remember much about her, but she gives utilitarian vibes. Interesting. I'm okay with putting her in utilitarian, just because she is willing to, like, sacrifice her own well-being, it seems, for, like, the sake of others. Does anyone have any strong opinions on Kuching? Do we really think she's utilitarian? She represents Ningguang as well, so she has to have the same ethical system, you think? We can have a tier for we're not sure. She's utilitarian? Is it just because she's like Ningguang? She does seem to have a strong moral compass, though. I just haven't identified it. Looking out for Liwei? But, like, there's multiple ways of looking out for Liwei, you know? It's like, is the best way to look out for Liwei by sacrificing the few for the many? Or is it by following a set of rules that have been in place? And, sticking to, like, basic ethical principles, you know? Undefinable good. I think undefinable good might work. Unless we know her motives for the reason she looks out for Liwei, you know? But I'd be willing to put her in undefinable good. Actually, I think that'd be a fair category for her, too. Zhangling. I know where I'd put Zhangling. And I feel like it's definitely one of these two. The only reason I'm thinking morally gray is because, like Sucrose, she seems like the kind of character that would do some questionable things for the sake of following her studies or her cooking. She would kill an endangered animal if she got to taste it? Probably. Morally gray 100%? Okay. Anyways, Chongyun. What is his motivation? He does seem like the type to stick to, like, some basic ethical principles. He does seem like that type, but I can't... Exorcism of evil spirits. That is what he does, but why does he exorcise evil spirits? Why does he think it's good? Because it's the right thing to do? Then definitely, we'll put him in deontologist. He gives off the deontologist vibes. I couldn't defend it, but if you think so. Let's do Xingqiu. I think green for Xingqiu. Like, why does he train in swordsmanship? That's what I need to know. Xingqiu follows chivalry. I feel like I remember that, but I have such a poor memory of all of the Mondstadt characters and Liyue characters. Actually, I see it. Chivalry this, chivalry that. Oh, that is a good point. Chi-Chi. God, what does Chi-Chi do? Chi-Chi is a nurse? But is she a nurse because she wants to help people, or is she a nurse because she just is? Like, I don't see any motives behind these eyes. Does she actually have any? Like, I'm not sure she's sentient enough to have, like, a moral compass, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But also, I just don't know about anything about Chi-Chi, so you guys might be right. Evil zombie that ruins 50/50, she's a nurse because that's her purpose for being undead. Oh, then she might be there, then. If she's doing this because it's, like, her role, and fulfilling said role is, like, an inherent good, and thus it's a rule she must abide by, I'm guessing deontology. I don't think she thinks about anything. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Lullaby, you're making a good point. Honestly, I feel like we need to put her in undetermined. I don't think she thinks that much. I think she just so happens to, like, be good. And, like, maybe that's undefinable good, but I don't think she's, like... And I don't think it's a bad thing, but I just don't think she has, like, a moral compass. I'm okay with having her in deontologist. I'm also okay with having her in undetermined. She's programmed to do... Oh, okay. I'm okay with that being deontologist. I'd be okay with that being an undetermined, but I'm also okay with that being deontologist, because being programmed to do something actually is, like, such an interesting way of, like, a metaphor for deontology. Oh, this dude. Yeah, no, I also... Venti gives morally gray vibes. Yeah, wants freedom as his utmost value. The one thing I do have to remind you of is we're not necessarily ranking whether the characters are actually good, but like the reasons for them being either good or bad. But I could still honestly see Venti going against his morals or like some duties. I don't know, he might be utilitarian based on what you said, Rob. He might be. Because for Venti, the greater good is not like the most people saved, but the greater good is the most people free. And I think that's also what he's kind of in line with, so I'm either in good utilitarian or morally gray. I could be convinced either way with Venti. Honestly, I think Venti is in utilitarian. Because he was willing to sacrifice, like, the good that he could have brought to Mondstadt for the sake of people being free. That being, like, the greatest good. So instead of, like, inflicting a rule on people and making it so that their quality of life is lower, but they're safer, like, he would risk losing people so that the most people could have the good of freedom. I'm gonna put Venti in utilitarian. And it was around Klee, which I know you're all very, very excited about. And if I'm going to be real, honestly, I'd put Klee in green. I know I want to put her over here because she kills fish, but, like, she is a child, and so she does not have a fully developed moral compass yet. She's only as good as the people around her are making her to be. Morally gray, at least. I want to say that too, but unfortunately, I have to put her in green. I don't think I can put her in the ones I really want to put her in. I know, she makes fish go boom. That is evil. Terrorist tier? God, your W first message. Thank you. You guys are you guys going to let me put her in hard to defend? Am I gonna get away with putting Klee in hard to defend and you guys aren't gonna give a shit about it? But how many kids would if they had easy access to bombs? That's what, the thing is, listen, I am happy to put her in morally gray or hard to defend. I'll put her in morally gray. As a compromise, I'll put her in morally gray. Because I personally am not a huge fan of Klee because of the whole fish murder thing. I just didn't think I'd be able to get away with this. Anyways, we got this dude. I think, honestly, hard to defend. I think he's the first easy hard to defend one. I don't think he's pure evil. He's willing to put a lot of good aside for getting, what he wants or what he's ordered to want. Anyways, that was easy. Let's go to Diona. I think she's probably in one of these, right? I'm guessing one of these two. What do you guys think? She's looking out for Tevet's health? Yeah. But I think she's also kind of focused on one's character. And, like, the character of, like, not drinking. Like, she determines whether someone is good based on their character, right? At least it sort of seems that way. She does seem very focused on, like, building up a character, though. Like, a moral character, right? Or is she not like that? I don't remember much about Diona either, that's the problem. So I'm okay with undefinable good. Let's go Zhongli. Are we putting him in utilitarian? Utilitarian 100%? Okay, you guys agree? I thought that'd be an easy one. He was willing to sacrifice a whole lot for the common good. Signed a Oh. I do like where you're going with, like, he might be a deontologist just because the contract thing is a very good, like, metaphor for deontology. He sticks to words because breaking them spreads chaos. I do, yeah, but then you're appealing to an outcome again because breaking them spreads chaos, whereas, like, a deontologist abides to them because they are good in and of themselves, you know? I could see how we would be able to put him in deontologist. Do we think he might be morally gray? I'm okay with morally gray. Believed to be eroded yeah, that's what takes me back to utilitarianism. That's a good point. Although he would be a good utilitarian. I don't think the thing is, being in good utilitarian does not preclude you from also being in hard to defend. Being in good utilitarian only means that you're good at being a utilitarian. If we were taking this from a deontological standpoint, you could be a shit deontologist and be an amazing utilitarian. I'm gonna leave him in utilitarian. Xinyan. I feel like Xinyan's a utilitarian or undefined good. Because her whole thing is, like, spreading joy through music, right? She's like, Xinyan, we want an undefinable good. I'd be okay with that. She's a punk rocker, so yes. Albedo? I feel like a lot of people are very familiar with Albedo lore, and I'm not. So I'm morally gray. I'm okay with you all taking the lead on this one. But he does seem, like, incredibly devoted to alchemy, so look, there's something about Gold's the Hexen Circle kids ending up here. Alright, let's think about Ganyu. Is Ganyu does she have motivations? What are Ganyu's motives? Good, virtue? Dendrologist? Why do we say these things about Ganyu? I know, I'm like, overworks herself for the sake of others. Seems like that might be utilitarian. I like overworking herself for the sake of others, willing to sacrifice her own well-being for others' well-being, which is like a greater good. Supposedly, she's the person on the side of the train track that the train is not heading towards. Kind and a hard worker? Yeah, I feel like she's a utilitarian, honestly. Let's go into Xiao. Virtue ethics or deontology? He fights off evil because it's his purpose, right? Undefinable? I think you're probably right. I don't know how to categorize Xiao, but he's definitely good. He doesn't quite seem to have, like, this focus on one's character. He doesn't seem to care about motives. It's his purpose and his task, yeah. Let's do Hu Tao. She seems very dedicated to, like, her career path, which is, like, helping the dead cross over to being dead. It's like, what? I don't know if that counts her as utilitarian, though, because she's not really, like... I can't remember any choices she's made that would, like, determine her to be a utilitarian. I don't remember any, like, tough decisions she's had to make about, like, ethics. Sacrificing herself in the lantern rite? Oh, right! Oh my god, I completely forgot about that lantern rite. That might be utilitarian. That might be enough to constitute her as utilitarian. Rosaria. Gray? We feel gray for Rosaria? Is it because her skin tone is very gray? For Rosaria, are we okay with Rosaria and morally gray? Can we move on to Yanfei? Yanfei is a lawyer. Guess morally gray. But she does have that line. She does have that line. The law can be both a help and a hindrance. And she has that other line, which is, sometimes sometimes human nature and the law conflict? Balancing the two is an act, or balancing the two is a discipline in its own right. So I'm thinking she actually might be a utilitarian. As a past Yanfei enthusiast, a past Yanfei main, I'm gonna put her in utilitarian. They can be hard to defend criminals, but criminals require defense so that they can get a just punishment. I'm assuming Liyue has a better legal system than America. Lawyer evil, this is one I won't break on. I won't crack on this one. If you defend criminals, but defense isn't in like their actions are right. It's defending the person, not the action. It's defending their status as like a human being which can make choices and is autonomous. It's defending for the sake of making sure you correct their soul. And this is like one thing that I very much agree with when Aristotle says that punishment is for the sake of fixing the soul, for lack of a better term. Actually going to enter a whole philosophy lecture here. It's Intro to Ethics via Genshin. I've been secretly doing it to you all for ages. Do we know if she's defensive prosecution? I don't think it matters. Don't think any playable characters are evil? You might be right. Anyways, let's talk about Eula. She seems like she would have principles she wouldn't break, but is ethics the center of her life? Trying to make up for her family's past mistakes? I could be swayed almost anywhere for her. I would put her here if I was doing this on my own, because I wouldn't know. Klee should be lower, she's a terrorist. I did a compromise, because she is a child. Honestly, I'd probably put her here. If you want, I could put Klee in hard to defend. If everyone really wants her lower, I'm happy to do that. I'm gonna leave Eula in the green if no one else has anything to say. If I make this into a video, we'll let all the Eula mains complain in the comments, alright? Sound off, guys. Good because of them thighs, awesome. We're leaving her in green. She works towards the good of Mondstadt. I will defend the character with the best trailer music until the day I die. Okay, she does have pretty good trailer music. The only character that can be evil as a child. Okay, Aloy is on the list. Okay, yeah, we can put Aloy undetermined really quick because I don't know shit about Aloy. And I don't care. Let's talk about Kazuha. Honestly, I think green for Kazuha. Like, I think he has a moral compass, but I don't think he's, like, wrapped up in it, you know? Does anyone have any qualms with Kazuha in green? So we go on to Ayaka. Ayaka's probably gonna be in one of the good categories, isn't she? The question is where? Socks and water? Ayaka's hard to defend. Do you actually want to put Ayaka here and hard to defend? Was the socks really that big of a transgression? Hard to defend? Oh, wow. Okay, that was almost the most agreement we've gotten. Well, okay, let's go to Yoimiya. I have a feeling, like many Pyro girls, Yoimiya is going to end up here. I could also see the case for this because of her little spiel at the end of her first story quest. And you know what? Also her second kind of story quest would, I don't know. Yep, undefinable good. Because I don't feel like she has a certain system. She just sort of is good, you know? Let's talk about Sayu. I don't know, I'd say green. She doesn't seem like she has, like, all that much interest in... I mean, I guess she wants to grow so that she can be good at, like, her job. But, I don't know. She doesn't seem like that's, like, the center of her life, you know? I would put her in green. I don't know if anyone has any qualms. Oh boy. Oh, we're in an ad break for this? Oh my god, I can't do this while in the middle of an ad break. I can't go to Raiden while you guys are in ads. That'd be fucked up. Should we skip Raiden for now and go to, like, Toma? We know Toma is, like, undefined good, right? Can we just put Toma up there? Raiden goes in hard to defend. I was gonna put her in morally gray, but I would be okay with hard to defend. But honestly, I was gonna put her in morally gray. She made people suffer for nothing. Not for nothing. Not for nothing. I mean, her entire reason for doing that was to try, and granted, it was a very failed attempt, but it was in attempts to keep Inazuma from falling into a nation that turns out like Khaenri'ah and is destroyed by the Heavenly Principles, or also a nation of loss and suffering. Just because she couldn't deal with trauma? Oversimplification, straw man. I'm calling it now. I'm putting her in morally gray. Because she does have a moral compass, she just did a bad thing. She has a very strong moral compass. Kujo Sara. I definitely get deontologist vibes from Sara, but I can't actually defend this. If no one's going to fight me on Sara being a deontologist, I'm dropping her here. What do we have about Kokomi? Evil. Okay, come on. Kokomi is not evil. Is a healer, didn't heal you. Also didn't save the delusion guy. Her healing only goes so far. I would say undefinable good, if that's fair. Oh wait, you're right. Kokomi is all about one's character, isn't she? Where are we gonna put Ito? I feel like he has a moral compass, but it's not the center of his life, you know? It's just like a happenstance thing. Ito saved a dude. When did you do this? I can put him higher, if you guys want. Like, he'll do good things, but it's not like he doesn't have like a moral compass that he's following. Or like he's not a very strong moral character, you know? Okay, Goro. I'm guessing somewhere in one of these, eh? He's definitely good, but I don't know how to define him, so he might end up here. You think he's utilitarian, just doing the best for the resistance? That's fair. Oh, we're on Shenhe, right. Guys, who knows about Shenhe? You don't think she has a moral compass? Put Shenhe in hard to defend, because she has the ropes wrapped around her, so she doesn't go batch. Oh. But she has the ropes. Were the ropes her choice? Because if the ropes are her choice, then she might be a higher up. The ropes were Cloud Retainer's idea after finding her with the bodies of dead corpses after being left as a sacrifice. And did she go along willingly with this? That's my question now. Oh, so she might be morally gray. That makes her a whole lot more interesting to me. W Shenhe, honestly. Alright, what about Yunjin? Do we think Yunjin is green tier? I feel like art is like her center, you know? Her life is her dance thing? Okay, perfect. Perfect. I feel like we don't get much of Yunjin content. Yeah, we really don't. Okay, Yai Miko. She's kind of a tricksy one. She did sort of do a lot of work behind the scenes, though, to make sure that Inazuma was returned to its normal state that everyone wanted. She's quite democratic. Good utilitarian. Did she want it for the greater good, though, or did she want it for A? Because she might have wanted it for A, which then I'd maybe put her in undefinable. Undefinable good because she went against Raiden and helped you defeat for the sake of Inazuma. Morally gray because she also does stuff for the lulz and things that entertain her for a book. I think we can put her in undefinable good. I think she is overall, like, very good. I think when it really mattered, she did what she had to do. It did take her a few centuries to help A, though. That is true. She couldn't without the Traveler. Okay. She's going back up. I think we'll keep her in undefinable good. Ayato. Okay, who actually knows anything about Ayato? Because I sure as hell don't. Oh wait, can we put Ayato in evil? I feel bad about Ayaka because the fandom absolutely destroys her. We're gonna put Ayaka up to green as a compromise, and we're gonna leave Ayato in evil just because I love to annoy the Ayato mains. Bro's a politician. Actually, true. Oh, and a good one. I committed. No, we gotta move Ayato up. I feel bad putting both the Kamisato siblings so low because Bros just knows. This is what we're doing. Okay, now you guys, we can talk about Yelan. To keep them both right. Okay, fine. No, I can't do that. I feel so bad. Okay, fine. Let's get Yelan. We're putting morally gray. I hear she tortures people. Do we want to fight about this? She has contact with the Harbingers? The Harbingers are not necessarily all bad. Let's talk about Kuki Shinobu. Honestly, I think has a moral compass, not the center of her life. She's, like, into self-betterment, but not necessarily in an ethical level. Kuki is a lawyer. Oh god, this again. So hard to defend. She should definitely be higher than Ito. I mean, there's technically only one tier higher than Ito, you know? These are technically, like, the same. They're just different types, you know? She hurts herself to heal the team. Good point. You know what? She's, like, really well educated. She probably doesn't even have an ethical system. She probably just has her own. Probably undefinable. Probably has, like, very thought out ideas on ethics that don't fit into any one of these three. Hazel has to be good virtue ethics, probably, actually. I like that. You won't elaborate? Fair. I think the reason virtue ethics stood with me is because virtue ethics is, like, Aristotle's thing, and Aristotle being, like, an ancient Greek that's, like, very devoted to contemplation and stuff, it makes me think of Plato, and, like, Hazel kind of has some, like, very rationalist tendencies that, like, Plato had, of, like, reason being, like, epistemological grounding for everything, you know? I think this works. He does kind of judge people based on character, right? On to Tighnari. I would vibe him in has a moral compass, but not the focus of their life. But we have to discuss this to see if you all agree. He goes against the rules to do the right thing. That he does. I am taking that into account. Evil. He cares too much about plants. Okay, I don't know if caring too much about plants dictates where you'll go on this, but maybe. I'm not sure if he goes against the rules to do good or right. Like, what does that mean about his conception of what is good? Like, the rules might not be good, so that doesn't necessarily preclude him from being a deontologist, because if he doesn't ascribe to the rules, then he doesn't hold them to be good, thus acting in accordance with said rules is not important. But he does seem like one of those characters who is, like, cares about plants too much. That's actually, like, kind of true. He probably cares about them more than, like, ethics, it seems, if that's a correct read. I would put him in has a moral compass, but not at the center of his life. We can move on to Kale, then. I feel like there's more Kale experts, or Kale knowledgeable people, or knowledgeable adjacent people in chat than, me. I was thinking in has a moral compass, but not the center of her life. But I'm also considering possibly undefined. I don't think she's a virtue ethics person. I don't think she's a deontologist or a utilitarian. It seems like a lot of her personality is trying to, like, heal from past trauma. And we don't get, like, a look into, like, her ethical views. I think I'd put her in has a moral compass, but not the focus. Someone really wanted to rank Dory. Evil for Dory. Straight to hell, do not pass go, do not collect 200. I mean, she definitely scams people. What are her motives? Make fat stacks? Okay, that might be hard to defend. Wants to heal her sister, but that's fake as shit. Wait, what do you mean? Like, she has a backstory saying that she has a sick sister, but you choose not to believe that? So we think she's lying about that, too? Wait, that's actually kind of funny. I might put her in hard to defend. If she really views her own well-being as, like, that much greater than everyone else's, I could see maybe utilitarian, but I doubt she does. Because she uses money best. I don't know. I'm not sold on that. I don't think she's evil, though. Putting her in the same tier as Child feels charitable. Really? I don't feel like she's evil, because she has done, like, good things, but only, like, incidentally, you know? At least if I remember the Kave quest correctly. She helped fund, like, some school for the desert or something. I don't remember. So that means we're on Sino. I know I've heard very mixed things about Sino in the past. Sino made a very strong impression on me during the Sumeru quest. I just don't remember what the impression was, so maybe it wasn't actually that strong. I just remember is, like, Sino has, like, he seems to really care about people's character. And, like, a good character seems very important to him. If I recall correctly, he seems to care about, like, one's character a lot. And, like, cultivating a good character, like, by way of following the law, but, like, that, I think that still fits with, like, a virtue ethics sort of approach. I just remember when he was, like, tormenting those two dudes, or maybe there's, like, 3 of them, I don't know, and he just went, like, evil mode. But, like, he was like, this is the ethical thing, and it's, like, because he had built up, like, an ethical character, like, he views himself as able to judge when to use force or not, you know? I think that's what, like, gave me that sort of impression. I think we can move on to Candace. I think I'd put her in utilitarian. Good utilitarian? Okay, we thought the same thing. Because it seems like all that she wants to do is, like, do what's the greatest good for Aru Village, right? Like, she wants what's best for the most amount of people, but I think she'd be willing to, like, make sacrifices for the greatest good. Where do we put Nila? Okay, I'm thinking either undefinable good or virtue ethics. I'm trying to think back to her story quest, because in the Archon quest we get, like, nothing. Can she be in the unseasoned toast tier? We don't have that tier here. You might want to try a different restaurant. I'm having a hard time fitting her into one of these three, but she definitely does have a strong moral compass. I just don't know how we'd put it. We're on to Nahida. Is she a utilitarian too? Takes over bodies with no qualms about it. But she does it for the greater good, doesn't she? I think she might be a utilitarian also. Or wait, I was going to say not utilitarian, virtue ethics. Because if I recall correctly, she wanted people to, like, develop themselves so that they don't rely on, like, a false reality. And I think that's somewhat similar. I'm also possibly undefined, but it might be similar to her seeing the good as, like, being of good character, and that, like, this living in reality is something which is, like, makes one of good character. But I don't know if I'm stretching that. But I'm gonna leave her there unless anyone has qualms. Layla! I'd put Layla in has a moral compass, but that's the focus of her life. Because I think she's too tired to dedicate her entire life to, like, the good, you know? And honestly, that's fair. I feel like this is where most people would lie. Layla's just like she's just like a normal person, you know? She's just tired and stressed. Oh, nice. Hack guy. He might actually go in good. Unless I'm remembering wrong, but basically, like, his whole story quest was, like, him trying to make up for, like, his past actions, right? And in, like, the current rendition of him, that's basically, like, at the core of his being. So I guess, like, it depends, like, how much of his life are we counting, because, like, technically, like, wasn't his past life erased from Irminsul? Like, his past life was literally, like, not real anymore? Well, in, like, Tevat reality? I just don't know which one of these I'd put him in. Probably not Deontologist. I don't think I've seen anything that would put him there. He doesn't seem like one who cares about, like, a good character, as, like, he's, like, very... At least he, like, behaves as if he's, like, a morally great character. Undetermined? Yeah. I just want to rule out utilitarianism. That's what I was thinking, but I was thinking undetermined. Oh, wait, you mean undetermined? I'm sorry, I was thinking undefinable. But what's the case for undetermined? That might be true just because of, like, the way he exists. So I don't know. I don't think morally gray fits for him. Depends on whether you count Wanderer versus Balladeer. I would be saying Wanderer just because that's, like, the character that's on this list, kind of. Like, he's very, like, begrudgingly good. Like, it seems like being ethical actually has value to him, which is why I want to put him in one of these. Because, like, I don't know, if you, like, split up his motives into, like, is it primary, secondary motives? Or first order and second order motives? His first order motives are, like, not to be the good guy, but, like, ultimately that is what he chooses. So I feel like we have to put him in this one, but I don't know if he's necessarily utilitarian. I might put him in undefinable good. Farazan! Oh my god, wait, what is Farazan? She might be in Has a Moral Compass, but not the focus of her life, honestly, reasonably. I don't think she's, like, bad enough to be morally gray, you know? She's just not focused on ethics. She's just, like, a normal person. Well, not really, but, like, her life is focused on other things. Also, it's funny that she keeps trying to steal Kale as a student. The less ethical things she does are, like, very, very, like, minor things, you know? This one's gonna be really easy for me. He's a virtue ethics user. He literally, and why? This is why. Because he's Aristotle, and Aristotle created virtue ethics. That's it. That's why he's there. I will not take critiques on this one. Virtue ethics was Aristotle's system. Alhaitham is literally Aristotle. That's why he's there. Is there a wretched dastard tier? Wait, you're right. We're renaming evil to wretched dastard. That's a really good note. Yao Yao? Dude, she's a child. I feel like she goes in and has a moral compass, but not the center of her life, you know? She's not, like, uber devoted to the good. Like, she does good things, but, like, she's not morally gray, but, like, she's just a kid. The only thing I remember about Yao Yao is she literally, like, fished a grown man out of the water once. And was like, yeah, what, like, it's hard? Okay, moving on to Dia. I feel like Dia probably goes in one of these categories. She's very duty-bound, but I'm not sure if that is enough to... I'm not sure if she's duty-bound in a way that's, like, makes her a deontologist. She is a merc. That is true. Gray? Why do we think she's in gray? Work adds a wrinkle to that? It might. She does everything for the paycheck, and I think she would be willing to kill people because of money. I think if she thought the people deserved it, then maybe. She goes out of her way to help Dunyarzad. She does do that. she's also, like, partial to Junior Sard. I mean, I'd be okay with putting her in Has a Moral Compass, but not the center. She's a self-described merc, and mercenaries are literally paid to kill people. She absolutely will turn work down. And in Genshin, a lot of it is just painted as guarding caravans and stuff. True. That's why I'm hesitant to put her here. She's very focused on, like, justice and loyalty among the desert people. I feel like she's definitely got a moral compass, you know? Put her next to Candace. That's what I was thinking. True. Actually, you're making a really good point. I might put her in Undefinable, because she definitely has a sense of right and wrong. I just don't know if it lines up with any of these. Since no one is here to fight me on it, we'll just put her right next to Toma. Right next to Toma. Mika, I know literally nothing about. Does he have any part in the story whatsoever? I don't... Has he actually had any story quests? Okay, wait, he was in some events, right? But I don't think any of those events shed light on his motives. I think I remember he was in the quest, the 3.8 quest with the, or wait, was it 3.8? He was in the, maybe it wasn't 3. It was the one with the Venti and the Hu Tao doing poetry. He and Noelle were, like, buddies. I think putting him here is honestly fair, because he is, like, not actually in the story. He's not actually there. Anyways, Baiju. The doctor, you feel Hu Tao hates him for the eternal life thing, but he's pretty good for everyone else. Yeah. He sort of... Wait, what was the sacrifice that he made in his, story quest? Wasn't there some sort of sacrifice he made in his story quest? Isn't the reason that his health is deteriorating because he helps everyone else? So I feel like he'd probably be a utilitarian. Baiju? Yeah. Because of the snake, yeah. The snake and him made a deal where he takes all the illness from people he cures or something. That's what I thought. It was something like that. I don't remember the fine details, but I do remember it's a personal sacrifice he's making so that he can heal others. So I think that puts him in utilitarian. The reason I'm denying deontology for him is because the personal sacrifice is, like, not... Like, especially in Kantian deontology, which I'm, like, kind of taking this from. Harming yourself, in which he is doing in a way, is, like, not permissible, whereas I'm thinking that he's making, that is like a sacrifice he is making for, like, the good of the many. Let's talk about Kaveh, because for Kaveh, let's see, what do we think about Kaveh? Kaveh is sort of platonic. I mean, Kaveh is Plato, so my inclination is to put him in the ancient Greek type, but let me actually think about Kaveh as a character, because he's not quite as, you know, he's written, we have insight into his motivations. Kaveh is undefinable good. He might be right. Wait, doesn't he have a line about one's character or something? He's not a deontologist, I don't think. He doesn't seem to... Like, there is more to actions than motivations for him. He might be a utilitarian because he does have those tendencies to try to do, like, what's best for others even if it hurts himself. But he might be an undefinable. I'm really between, not deontologist, but, like, one of these three. He might be an undefinable. But does anyone have any more thoughts on Kaveh? Important virtue. Yeah, it's just the way he speaks. It's so, like, he talks about people's character. I don't know, he might be utilitarian. I don't know, I feel like he has a very specific moral compass that's, like, belonging to him himself. I feel like utilitarian isn't enough. I feel like he's also cares about motives, too. Let's see about Kirara. I'm vibing her at green. I don't think she's, like, had a part in... She doesn't have a part in any of the Archon quests, so I'm guessing she... At least I'm not aware of the stuff that she would be doing to, like, sort of take, like, extraordinary ethical actions. Like, going above and beyond, kind of. It seems like she's just very devoted to her job, which is why I put her here, but... I don't know if anyone else knows Kirara better. Because she doesn't... I don't recall her having any events where she's really, like, forced to make tough decisions, which I feel like reveals these kinds of things about the characters. Like, in most of these characters up here, I feel like they've had, like, a significant part in the Archon quest, or I just know I'm more familiar with them, like Kaveh and Kuki. So I feel like I was able to sort of, like, guess that more. Or, like, I remember the event with Xinyan. Like, I remember her summer event part, which was really nice. But I'm going to go to Linny next. I think Linny is definitely in one of these 4 categories. The question is, what kind of ethical system does he work under? He was characterized by being very loyal to the House of the Hearth and Arlecchino. I think he's definitely one of these top 4. I just don't know which one defines him. I feel like he's probably going to be an undefinable good. Because I don't think he's a utilitarian, necessarily. At least I don't have any evidence that he's a utilitarian. And that he's, like, the greatest amount of good for the greatest amount of people is, like, ultimately what makes an action good. I don't think he's purely motives-based. I don't think he cares about one's character. I feel like he goes an undefinable good. At least I don't have evidence of him going in any of these 3 categories, but we have evidence of him having, like, a strong moral compass. So I feel like we could put him in here. Let us go now to Lynette. What was that thing that she was saying at the beginning of the Fontaine Archon quest? That's a question. I feel like she was very... Although I feel like her and Linny probably have similar thought patterns, but I think she's definitely in one of these, because, you know, she got the Archon quest treatment, which means she was willing to go to great lengths to save a nation, or contribute towards saving said nation, so... I feel like we didn't get enough... They didn't really, like, delve enough into her motives for her to be in any of these other 3, but we do know that she has them. They exist, but they're not definable. So I'll do that. Freminet. This is interesting, because he was part of the Archon quest, so he did do some things. Like, he did participate in the activities that the others took to sort of go to those lengths. But it might have just been out of loyalty to them, so I don't know, like... Oh, wait, there was that event with him, and it wasn't there. I completely forgot about that event. I don't know, the 3 of them, they seem like their code of ethics is, like, formulated around their family. So I'm, like, tempted to put them in the same category. But, like, also, I don't remember getting very much about Freminet's, like, motivations at all. And, like, he wasn't super present in the Archon quest. He was sort of just there as, like, an extension of these 2. Which tempts me to put him in here, but, like, also potentially there. If I could remember the quest with, like, it was, like, the Mechanical Penguin quest, I feel like I'd have a better feel for where to put Freminet. I think I'll put him with these 2. We'll keep the family together. Anyways, we have gone to Neuvillette. I have to think about Neuve. He obviously is in one of these top 4. He definitely has a moral compass. The question is, which one of these? I feel like he probably cares about motives. I feel like that probably informs whether an action is right or wrong. I don't think he's a deontologist, though. He definitely cares about outcomes. I think he has his own system. Honestly, I think he has his own system that's kind of like a mix between deontology and utilitarianism, and has probably got some virtue ethics in it also. When Neuve is judging someone, is he judging them purely based around the law? Or is he judging them based around, like, morality also? Because I think the thing about Fontaine is they kind of conflate the law and morality to be, like, one and the same. Which is fair, because, like, Nation of Justice thing. Isn't his whole thing kind of, like, doing what's right? It seems to me like following the law is, like, a good in and of itself, you know? And that would make me lean deontology. Or having, like, some aspects of deontology. His, like, place of neutrality, per se, is something that he values in and of itself, and also because it yields good outcomes. Which makes me think that he probably takes from deontology and utilitarianism. Like, his position as a judge, he has to sort of evaluate all of those things. Okay, Wriothesley. I don't actually know much about Wriothesley, other than what we got in the Archon quest, which frankly was not all that much. He was probably one of the less developed characters in that whole quest. I'm sure they probably give him more outside of it, but, like, if we're talking about that quest alone, which is really all I've gotten, because I haven't done his, like, story quest, it's gonna be very difficult for me to figure this out. I'm trying to think about, like, his motives behind, running the fortress. You have to think about the character's motivations first, which his motivation is basically to help rehabilitate the people of Meropide, right? But I don't know if that actually reveals anything about whether or not he's one of these 3. Why does he give the vibes he would pull the lever? He would pull the lever, wouldn't he? I agree, but he does seem like he would prioritize motives over other things. Maybe he's just ethically inconsistent, or maybe he's an undefinable good. As if, hey, I agree with you, that's weird. I think he's got his own system. let's think about Farina. She deceived everyone in order to save future Fontanians. She sacrificed herself for the outcome. Utilitarian. She cares solely about outcomes. I think there's definitely a case for utilitarian. She might be an undefinable good, and I'm only saying this because I think she probably saw the motives behind her actions as very important to, I guess, giving them value at all. But would Farina pull the lever? That's, I guess, what we want to know. Would Farina pull the lever? And would she quickly pull the lever? Would she decisively pull the lever? I don't know if she'd decisively pull the lever, but something about her is making me lean towards undefinable good. I think utilitarian we could definitely make a case for, though. I'm gonna put her in undefinable, I think. Because, yes, her actions as good is evaluated based on the outcome. Like, the lying and the deception was good because of the outcome. But I think Farina herself probably also very much values, like, sticking to her oath and promise. Because there was a point when she was not really sure about what the outcome was going to be, and she was losing hope that actually sticking to her promise to Focalor was actually going to result in anything good, but she still stuck to it. And I think that gives her just a little bit of, like, this deontological swing, if that makes sense. Charlotte. Okay, Charlotte definitely has a moral compass. Evil? Is it just because her kid is that bad? Come on. We gotta... She's very... Okay, so we know about her, she's very devoted to the truth, and, like, sharing that truth, but I guess the question we have to then ask is why. And I think it's probably because it yields the greatest outcome, like, the best outcome for the greatest number of people. I feel like that's why she values the truth. I think she'd pull the lever. I think Charlotte is solely driven by passion, not morals. You think... Wait, but why do we think that she's passionate about the news? Because I thought it was to, like, share the truth. And I guess then why is she passionate about sharing the truth? I'd assume because it creates the greatest good for the most amount of people, but has an ethical mindset of only publishing the truth and verifying it always? Yeah, I'd say she definitely has a moral compass. Unless we think that she only cares about verifying and stuff for the sake of herself, maybe? But I don't think that's the case. I feel like I'm very comfortable putting her in utilitarian. She gives me the vibes of someone who'd be, like, easily like, yes, you should pull the lever. Where are we putting Navia? Let's first ask our basic questions, which is, what are her motives? Her motives are to do good by the people. I think she wants to do good for the people because the outcomes matter to her. But I think you need good motives too. I don't know, I could see multiple cases for Navia. Okay, I don't think Navia is in virtue ethics. I don't think focusing on the cultivation of one's character alone is enough to deem them as... I don't think that's a strong enough part of hers, but... So again, it goes to utilitarian or undefinable good. God, this tier is getting really big, but I feel like they did I don't know, maybe it's just due to the fact that I feel like a lot of these characters... Maybe it's just because I remember them. It might be because I felt like they were more, more went into them, and because of, like, the theming of Fontaine itself, we got, like, a little more into what their ideas of justice were, and so it was a little more nuanced because of, like, the theme itself. But a lot of Fontaine characters I feel like go in undefinable good. So, I'm gonna put Navia there, unless anyone has any qualms about that. Chevreuse! Ooh! Oh my god, wait, okay. Chevreuse gives me deontologist vibes, but I don't necessarily think that means she's a deontologist. I'm gonna drop her here for now, and I'm gonna contemplate this. Because, oh my god, wait, something about Chevreuse. Is it just that she's edgy? Is that why? Because, you know what? Shiori would also give me deontologist vibes. I think that's just because they're edgy. I don't think that's actually because they're deontologists. The question I need to ask about Chevreuse is she willing to break from the law to catch criminals? I think that's the question. In the case of pulling the lever, I think Chevreuse would pull the lever. Will shoot people to save other people, and she'd pull that thing so fast. Yeah, I think that means she's a utilitarian. For some reason, she seems to have, like, a very strict set of rules But at the same time, yeah, you're right, she will shoot people to save someone else. So she would definitely pull that lever. Like, it'd be a pretty easy choice for her. So I think utilitarian. I think you're right. Let's think about Jin Yoon. Oh my goodness, I don't remember, like, anything about this character. Did she have an entire quest, or no? Because I think I did her quest. What I remember about her in the Liyue Archon quest makes me think that maybe she's a deontologist because she seems to have, like, a set of rules that she abides by, and, like, laws that, like, adepti must stick to. I don't know, maybe it's just, like, the whole contract thing from Liyue, that it's like, oh, there's a contract, we have to stick to it, but again, that doesn't necessarily mean deontologist. Or does she even display that strong of a moral compass? I guess that's also a question. Save Shenhe despite the outcome maybe ending up badly. That's fair. That's enough to convince me to put her in deontologist, honestly, because I don't think I have any other more concrete examples of what she's done. In that case, it'd be like saving someone is the right thing to do because of, like, inherent, like, worth, probably, I'm guessing. That seems to be, like, a rationale she would follow. I think the Adepti in general are very, like, they only act in the way that they think is fit for an Adepti to act. Yeah, that seems like deontologist to me. Like, acting in that way, those set of rules, because they're, like, inherently good. I'd be happy to drop her in deontologist. Let's go to Gaming. Okay. I'm gonna be honest, like many other 4-stars that haven't appeared in Archon quests, very much giving me has a moral compass but not the center of their life. Like, all the information we have, well, not all of it, but, like, a majority of the story things things in his stories were, like, lower stakes compared to things. It was like, okay, there are people, it was about stealing stuff, right? I don't know. It seemed very straightforward, like, the stuff he runs into. It didn't seem like, any big decisions that, like, had to reveal his motives, so I'd put him in moral compass, but not the focus of their life. I don't have much to say about Gaming, honestly, because I feel like he hasn't had such a huge part in, like, any events. Now we have Chiori. Like I said before, Chiori kind of gives me deontologist vibes, but that's just because she's edgy. I don't think that necessarily means she belongs there. Does she have is even her moral compass even? I don't think her moral compass is the center of her life. I think she's just, like, an average person, honestly. And I don't think throwing people out of her shop for acting rude is, like, morally gray. I think she's probably just in the middle. Which makes sense, because, like, not in the Archon quest, wasn't participating in, like, any extreme acts of, like, ethical greatness or whatever. She's based for that? Exactly. That's just like an average person thing to do. Like, if you have a moral compass, but it's, like, not the center of your life, like, yeah, literally throw someone out of your shop and then throw scissors at them or something, you know? I feel like I'd put her here. The cool tier. I do like this tier. This is, like, the real person tier, you know? Oh, okay, here's something fun. I haven't done Arlecchino's story quest yet. Yeah, I know, it came out, like, over a year ago. I still haven't done it. For people who actually have and know things about Arlecchino, other than the Archon quest, where do you want to put her? Because based on the Archon quest, I don't know where I'd put her, based on the Archon quest. I don't know if I got enough into her motives in the Archon. I mean, we had enough of her motives, but I don't know if I got enough of her values and, like, why she values those motives in it. Training child soldiers and spies is not great. Yeah, I mean, she certainly seems morally great to me. She seems like she has I don't know if she has a moral compass, though. Even if she's, like, making the wrong choices, she may still have a moral compass. Like, I would put A in one of these top 4 tiers, but she is here as a compromise. Because A definitely has a moral compass. It's just the outcomes that people didn't like, which is why we put her here. That people were so adverse to that we couldn't put her in any of the has a moral compass tiers, so she's kind of in a weird spot. I'm fine with putting Arlecchino in morally gray. She seems like she would use violence to get what she wants. Let's do Clarend. Clarend, my first thought is deontologist. This is the line that Clarend has that makes me think, most duty-bound kind of character ever? Yes, that's what I was thinking. That's what was making me think this. I was thinking of this line. If you wish to hire my services, please state the nature of your dispute. You may leave out any extraneous details. Those don't concern me. Like, I feel like she would be a deontologist based on how duty-bound she is. She might be a utilitarian ultimately, but she definitely has the elements that could make me, like, believe that she's a deontologist just because of how duty-bound she is. which I feel like is characteristic of, like, many people who are deontologists. I'm gonna leave her there, just because I don't think we have, like, this is probably speculation anyways, so, and she definitely fits this in some ways, so. Now we have Seedween. Okay, Seedween was such a nothing character for me, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like that's not a hot take at all, and you guys probably agree. Not that there's anything wrong with Seedween, of course, but let's think about this. Did she even... she didn't do much, did she? She was sort of just, like, Risley's little assistant. Seedween tries to, like, give extra food to people who are overworked or something, which is nice, you guess? Oh yeah, that is true. Do we have I mean, that's, like, a good thing to do, but, like, is that, like, going above and beyond? Like, the thing is, most of these characters, because of, like, the context of what they're doing, they will fall into the category of, like, participating in acts of supererogation, which is basically going above and beyond what, like, any ethical system could ask of you. And I don't know if Seedween does that, which makes me want to put her in the green category. Like, that's a good thing to do, definitely has a moral compass, and probably falls into, like, maybe falls into one of these three, but, like, I don't know if it's her focus. She kind of just wants to be a good doctor. Her character isn't anything else, yeah. I don't know, I'm comfortable with putting her in green. Sethos. Okay, who is the Sethos experts? Mies? You know about Sethos? He's funny and likes his friends, so green, maybe? Is just a silly little guy? Okay. Then I'm happy putting him with green, and honestly that's fair because, like, a lot of 4 stars that weren't in the Archon quest are in green. They're, like, the normal person tier. Okay, Chiori might be a little more violent than some of us, but, like, she's just like us. Okay, we have Emily, not to be confused with Flemily. As someone who hasn't done any of the Fontaine story quests, I know nothing about Emily, because I haven't done her story quest, which is literally the only content we have of her in this game, so I know nothing about this character. She's normal as fuck, okay, green tier, relatable tier. Perfume is the center of her life, relatable queen, wow. Okay, Mualani. Okay, she's definitely gonna be in one of these, because that's how characters in this game are. Of course, they are doing extraordinary things. I don't think she's a deontologist. She definitely cares about outcomes. Is she care about cultivating one's character? Maybe. She might be an undefinable good, because I feel like she's probably, like, cares about motives also, but she was just good. She was just good. I don't feel like I have a grip on what her, like, values were. Like, her value, not her, like, basic values, but, like, why she values what she values. Like, why does she value, like, the survival of Nalaon? It's because it's, like, life is inherently good, or is because, like, life leads to other things which are... I don't even know. I don't know. She is charismatic, a sign of a serial killer. Oh, okay, so you want to put her in Wretched Dastard? Alright. She has complete, absolute trust in humanity? She does. I feel like she goes an undefinable good. I feel like she has her own compass. I just don't see anything in her character that would lead me to, like, one of these. Like, did she actually have to make any tough decisions other than to participate in the Night Wars and the war against the Abyss, or to not? But I don't think she'd quickly pull the lever either. I feel like she would go here. Like, the tough decision was a very obvious one for her because she's just, like, effortlessly good. Doing anything to get Kachina back? Okay. Interesting. Okay, so she's doing anything to get Kachina back because... I don't know if that necessarily puts her in any of these tiers. I'm gonna leave her in this one, unless anyone thinks that she should go in, like, one of these. I'm not convinced. I just don't see anything that would point to one of these 3 tiers, but, like, obviously she's above green because she participated in a war for her nation, so, like, extra cool, yay. Okay, now we have Kachina. I don't think Kachina, is she an undefinable good too? Because I don't think she's purely a utilitarian. I don't think she'd be like, yeah, I don't think she'd be content pulling the lever. I don't think she'd be content not pulling the lever, but I don't think she'd be content pulling the lever either. She'd want to find a third way out. She would try to find the secret third way out. Tier list idea, strongest character, tier list lore-wise. I like that idea. I don't think I could do it, though. I don't think I'd know enough. Like, even this as it is, I don't know enough about these characters. I'm relying on some of you to, like, make sure that I actually have anything to say about them. Because there's so many characters, and so many of them are underdeveloped, too. At least in the story. So that, like, I need people who are, like, obsessed with these characters and, like, understand every detail about them to, like, fill in the blanks, you know? That's how it's going. Kanich. My first thought for Kanich is deontology, because he's kind of like a contract dude, isn't he? And, like, I don't think that necessarily means that he wouldn't pull the lever, but yeah, he is very transactional. Like, he might easily pull the lever, but, like, at the same time, he seems like one of the most inclined to possibly ascribe to deontology. So, I don't know, I feel like it's one of these two. I am slightly inclined to put him here just because, like, I feel like he would kill someone to save a life without, like, hesitation, you know? Or does he do it because he's duty-bound? But duty-bound doesn't necessarily... Yeah, it's because I didn't outline these tiers in enough detail. Because this is an inherently oversimplified list, I think we're gonna come up with instances like this where it's just not entirely clear. I do kind of like the deontologist Kanich, though, so I'm gonna drop him here and know that he also could be a utilitarian. Just based off of, like, what form of utilitarianism and what form of deontology you're using. But I do like the contract-bound thing, and I like that I like the idea of a deontologist Kanich. Let's go to Jilliman. Okay, I'm kind of torn. I'm torn between Green and one of these tiers. Green on the one hand because one of these tiers on the one hand because she was willing to, like, sacrifice herself to make the whole ancient name thing. But, like, on the other hand, she's not... It doesn't seem as if, like, she dedicates her daily life to that kind of stuff. Like, it seemed like that was a very one-time deal. Whereas, like, this, just because of these circumstances are so extreme kind of thing. So I'm almost tempted to put her here. Mechanic tier? We don't have that one, I'm sorry. You'll have to try a different tier list. For question about virtue ethics, I will do my best to answer. Would that apply to being, like, devoted to religion? Because you see Barbara and, like, her sole pursuit being faithful and healing people and stuff. Yeah, you know what? I think we could move Barbara. I don't know if I'd put her in... Maybe I'd put her in virtue ethics. I think we could definitely move Barbara. Virtue ethics, you understand the least, that's fair. It's kind of a weird system that can't really function on its own. At least a lot of people think that. Basically, I'll put it in terms of these two, and I'm gonna leave Barbara here for now. Utilitarians, you know, they judge actions based off of the consequences. Deontologists judge actions based on the motives. Virtue ethics ascribers judge actions based on the character of the person who did the action. Which I know is weird because then you're like, well, how do you judge the character of the person who did the action if you don't know, if you're using the character to judge the action's goodness? That's, like, a very understandable question to ask. I've been using Aristotle's version to inform this a little bit, because he provides a little more on what that means. So, I'm guessing Barbara would determine someone else's actions to be good if they are in line with, like, the Church of Favonius's teachings. She might be deontology because the set of rules. Or she might be consequence-focused, or she just might be undefinable good. She does have a strong sense of duty, doing what she thinks she has to do. I am happy to put her in deontologist because it's right in and of itself. That means we have Chaska next. Oh, right! Oh my god, wait, yes, how did I forget about that? Chaska is a peacekeeper. Okay, so since Chaska is a peacekeeper, I'm guessing she would be a utilitarian. Because the whole wanting two parties to get along sort of thing seems like it's in some way valuing, like, maximizing the good between multiple parties. She wants to resolve conflicts amiably, but will resort to violence if necessary with no questions asked. Okay. That, you know what? She's becoming more of a utilitarian by the second. Okay, Ororon. Maybe it's just because everyone only ever talks about this guy in regards to his vegetables. That's why I think this. But, like, he did take quite a stand in the Natlan Archon quest. So I don't know if I want to diminish him just to his vegetables, you know? Originally he was like, I want to help the captain because he has a plan to save Natlan. Oh, okay. He saw a concrete plan as the best option and pledged himself to it. He was aligning himself, and he aligned himself with the captain's plan, and the captain's plan was, like, rather utilitarian because it was going to sacrifice, like, all of Natlan's culture for the sake of the next generations. So I would say utilitarian, is that fair? Undefinable? Undefinable and utilitarian are very popular. Ultimately, he aligned himself with what he thought was going to create the greatest happiness for the greatest number of people. I feel like he's definitely a utilitarian. Okay, Mawika, boring character. Sorry, no. We're gonna think this through. We're actually going to think this through. Okay, Mawika might be undefinable good, because I don't think she's just a consequences person, she also seems to be, like, a motives person. Like, I don't think she would have sacrificed, like, one person from Natlan in order to save the entire nation, based off of her, adverse reaction to the captain's plan, you know? But, like, would she if she had to? If she had to, would that be the good for her? She might be. She might be a utilitarian. I think she definitely would want the greatest amount of happiness for the greatest number of people. Now, is that, like, the good for her? I guess the last question that we have to ask about Mawika is, we know she wants to maximize the greatest amount of good for the greatest number of people. But do motives matter for her? Because if motives matter for her, we can put her in undefinable good. But if motives don't necessarily matter very much, we can put her in utilitarian. I'm gonna drop her in here for now. Motives might not matter as much since she accepted Capitano's deal despite his secondary objective, yeah. But also, did she consider him... I guess she didn't consider him that morally corrupt. So that's fair. See, Lolly eats Papa. Get him. Ooh. Okay, wait. We actually have got content for this one. We've got content for Lolly. Because she was initially okay with sacrificing Auroron for the sake of, the Nightwind, you know? Masters of the Nightwind. She was originally okay with sacrificing Auroron for the Masters of the Nightwind, but it seems like she's definitely moved away from that, so I don't think I'm gonna call her a utilitarian. I don't think she's purely deontologist, though, anymore, because she struggled with that. I think she's established herself as a mix. Because I don't think cultivating one's character is necessarily of importance to her in defining what's a good action or not. Undefined, yeah. Lanyan. Okay, as someone who does not remember anything about Lanyan, do we have anyone who knows about Lanyan? Because otherwise, I'm just gonna drop her in the green tier. She, like, made dolls to help Ningguang. Only thing she ever did. Okay, probably not the center. And you know what? It makes sense. This is the 4-star treatment. Non-Archon Quest 4-star treatment is being and has a moral compass, but not the center of their life. Okay, sounds good. Mizuki. Mizuki we've got a little information on. I'll be honest, again, don't remember it all that well, but I'm curious as to what her motives are behind being is she like a therapist? I'm curious what her motives behind being a therapist are, because I'm guessing she'd probably be an undefinable good, or her occupation may throw her up into one of these categories. She's a therapist, but that's a good point. We don't really know why, yeah. I mean, because it helps people, but, like, is she value helping people because, like, it's good to help, like, a person themselves, or is it because it creates, like, positive results, and, like, it's a good thing to do, or, I don't know. Zuki is just getting into everyone's heads because it helps her. If I recall correctly, it does actually help her, but I don't know if that's the sole reason. So I'm happy to leave her in undefinable good. She also eats bad dreams, which can harm her. Oh, okay, the bad dreams can harm her. Yeah, definitely undefinable good, I think. I think that's fair. I don't think we've got enough info on her. Okay, Veresa. I have not done the quest with Veresa, but she wasn't in the Archon quest, so I'm gonna hazard a guess that she might be has a moral compass, not the center of her life. Kind of just wants to help retrieve or whatever. They did not give her a particularly good character development, but they did give a tiny little bit. You'll die on that hill? Okay. Do we want to put her in undefinable good, or do we want to put her in has a moral compass but not the center of her life? Say still good, because, like most Natlan warriors, they fight for their tribes. Yeah, you saying she kind of just wants to help her tribe makes me feel like she should go there. Yansan. Again, we're at utilitarian and undefinable with Yansan. Because Yansan was one of the heroes, but, like, why does Yansan do what she does? That's the question. Why does she value what she does as, like, something that's good? Does she care, does she care about motives? What's her thought on motives? I feel like she would care about motives. Say more utilitarian? Oh, okay. Would Yansan pull the lever? That's gonna be the last test we take on Yansan. Would she pull the lever? Or would she say it's the right thing to pull the lever? I think because her ancient name is power, she views it as a duty to use it well. Okay. I guess what is well? Does well include, is well just consequences? Or does well also have the right intentions? Because the right intentions, standard Nalan fighting the warrior. We'll put her in undefined. Escoffier. I haven't done her story quest. The only content I have had of Escoffier was in that one event where she was a chef, you know, as she always is. Probably green, right? It's not the focus of her life. It's just not what she does. Green, yeah. She's non-Archon Quest characters, they just fall into green. They don't show any excessive inclination towards the right thing. So, Aoife! I don't know, okay, so he's like a Saurian vet, medicine born of guilt, nice guy. You mean green? Good friend material. So gray, undefined. I'm good with that. Agree? Okay. Squirk. Okay, wait, I actually feel like I understand Squirk as a character. Oh, Squirk would be such a cool deontologist, but I'm not sure if it's right. Oh, is she a utilitarian? Oh, is Squirk a utilitarian? Basically, her entire life is built around, like, protecting herself from Certology, basically. That's, like, what her entire life is based around. I think revenge is all morally gray area, even if it's protection. I don't think it's revenge, though. I don't think she does what she does out of revenge. I think she does what she does out of, like she's not trying to, she doesn't want revenge on Certology, I don't think. I think she just wants to be prepared, you know, for, like, when it comes. Because she knows it's going to come, eventually, the day when he's going to try to, like, destroy her life. And by trying to keep people at a distance, it's almost like a way of protecting them. She did have a line that went pretty hard about creating a new world where those without power don't decide everything. Or where those with power don't decide everything. Yeah. I feel like she has to go in one of these top tiers. I don't know, she just feels like her motivations are about protecting, like, to protect others from her fate. Yeah, I think so. She's, like, definitely got, like, a very, like, her whole, like, quest was about allowing her to feel those, like, emotions and, like, that, like, empathy again. And, like, that connection to others, because it was doing more harm than good for her to be, like, blocking all that stuff out for the sake of, like, others. And, like, protecting them, you know? I think I'd put her in undefinable good. Yeah, I've really liked Squirk's story quest. I know a lot of people didn't like that one, but I thought that one was quite nice. Oh, we're almost on our last character, but first we have Dahlia. And I think he gets the 4-star treatment, 4-star non-Archon Quest treatment, which is green. Does anyone have any qualms with this? Is anyone a Dahlia expert? He's evil. It's the popcorn. To surprise baptism people is kind of evil, you know, that is kind of fucked up. He is a little wretched. Is he actually? I'd be fine putting him in Wretched Dastard if you guys think he belongs there. He just, like, I'm bored, I need to get entertained by people's drama. Is that enough to throw you all the way down to Wretched Dastard? I don't think we can put him, I don't think that even warrants morally gray, but he's a loud eater too. Are we gonna put him in morally gray? Definitely just a green 4-star? Okay. I don't think being, like, a drama enjoyer and a gossip is enough to throw you in morally gray. Okay, the last character we're actually doing, because I haven't done any of the non-cry quests yet, is Inefa. I don't know, I feel like she'd pull the lever. I think she's definitely good, right? Her motives seem to come from a genuine love for humanity. You don't know if love of humanity is innate to her. Not innate, but, like, essential to, like, who she is, you know? Like, she showed a lot of loyalty in her quest, you know? She does, however, want to help people and, like, goes through the whole ordeal to save Traveler because they helped her. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, her loyalty is very strong, and so she definitely has, like, this want to sort of, like, pay back, I guess. Which, like, is definitely, I don't think that's, like, a bad thing. I feel like Robot does give utilitarian, but, like, again, my first thought on a lot of these is not necessarily the right one, and is usually, it has not been a lot of the times. I'd be fine leaving her there, if we're all good with that. I don't know why she values what she values, I guess. Did we complete the tier list? Is this done? We have officially ranked all the characters. Some observations. Undefinable moral character, or, like, a lot of the times a mix between utilitarianism and deontology. Seems to be very popular. Not surprisingly, a lot of the characters sort of go beyond the call of like everyday ethics and end up in these top 4 tiers. And then of course we have quite a few characters who are just like regular people. But this actually, the distribution of this does not surprise me that much, because honestly I don't think deontology and virtue ethics are all of that popular, and Genshin doesn't like making morally gray characters. We could tell that a lot of the characters did have like motives, but their motives weren't all that detailed, and we didn't know like why they valued what they valued, whether it was like an inherent good or something that like resulted in more good. So a lot of this was vibes. A lot of this was definitely vibes. I guess this is our final question mark list. I'm not sure if it's final, but it is here.